This chapter of One Piece is all about my man Sabo's adventure, although this should have been called Sabo's flashback. Recently, the cover pages for the manga have been really good. I really like this one as well as the previous one that we got, but Oda is still teasing us by not showing Doflamingo's eyes. The way the chapter opens up with Little House on the Prairie, and the way that Oda drew those panels inside of Kiros' house, it really goes well with the entirety of the chapter because it's a very cozy and comfy atmosphere. And the only people who are awake to hear Sabo's story are Robin, Frankie, who's fixing his eye, and Zoro, who's just drinking some booze. Everybody else is asleep. We got Kiros on the floor, Law there, Usopp is falling off the bed, Luffy on the bed, and surprisingly, Bellamy is there. I just want to know why Bellamy is there. Because Bartolomeo and Rebecca and other characters, other secondary characters that are pretty important in this arc aren't there. So I just want to know who gave the order of bring in Bellamy into this little house. Bellamy for Nakama. No, please no. Anyway, Sabo says that there's no need to wake Luffy and that he just came to see his face one last time. Obviously, my man Sabo is no stranger to voicing his erotic feelings of brotherly love. Seriously though, there's a very clear reason as to why Luffy has to be asleep during this flashback, and it's because Luffy freaking hates flashbacks. He finds them boring, he doesn't care about people's past, and I would say that he doesn't even care about what happened to Sabo. I think as long as Sabo is alive, I think that's what Luffy cares about the most. So everything else, all these little details for Luffy, they're just fluff. The important part of the flashback starts when Sabo gets shot. His little boat gets blown to smithereens by the Tenryubito, and it looks, at one panel shows like he's burning up, and then he falls into the water, and then Dragon grabs him. And I said last week that I wish we could have seen Dragon in the previous chapter, but we got him in this one in flashback form, which is not the same, but it's still pretty cool. Now, because Sabo has lived through the birdcage and he is retelling the story, he makes the comparison of the country, his home country, being kind of like the same thing, being inside of a birdcage because he wasn't free. If you read the Luffy flashback, there is a part after Sabo gets shot where we do see Dragon's ship, and you see some people talking. Obviously, one of them is Ivankov saying like, "Oh my gosh, like why are you late?" And then Dragon asking for help because he has a wounded person. We don't know it's Sabo at that point, but that's what Oda used to expand upon in this chapter. I've read some theories saying that people believe that Vegapunk is a revolutionary. If you look at the panel, because remember, Sabo needs a doctor. There is a panel of what appears to be a doctor with black gloves saying that, well, we need to contact his parents to get him back. I don't know, it's like, who could Dragon have as a doctor on the ship? I feel like a lot of the content of this chapter was basically clarification about stuff that we kind of already put together ourselves as fans, with the exception of Sabo having amnesia. Like, that's the biggest shocker. Even though, to be honest, I mean, amnesia is kind of a cliche in storytelling for convenience purposes. I will admit that if Oda had used anything else but amnesia to justify this, it probably would have been super contrived. So I think amnesia in this case is the best option for Sabo. I do find it funny how he can't remember who he is, he can't remember his brothers. The one thing that he can remember is that he just wants to get the hell away from his parents because he's like, get out. So that's a little bit convenient, but it's understandable because of the traumatic experience that his parents represent to him. Memories obviously come back, and they are triggered back because of Ace dying. We see Koala without her hat, she looks really nice. But I do think it's kind of cool that it took Ace's death for Sabo's memories to come back, because in a way, Ace did kind of die, and Luffy went through all that thinking that Sabo was dead. So in a way, I mean, Sabo, a part of Sabo, an essential part of Sabo, was gone, and they didn't come back until that happened. So it makes poetic sense, because it's like, yeah, Sabo was kinda dead. He has the exact same reaction as Luffy did in Marineford when Ace died in his arms. He even passes out just like Luffy. So Sabo wakes up, and Koala's been crying and shit, which I thought was really cute. And he asks for Dragon, because I guess he's going to be talking to him about Luffy extensively. I think that's why Oda needed to get Sabo away from Luffy in this chapter, because Sabo knows way too much about Dragon. He knows way too much about the Revolutionary Army, which I think is something that Oda wants to keep hidden. So if Sabo were to stay, he would just be throwing out mad spoilers. And then we get the scene that was skipped when they meet in the Colosseum. And I guess this is Oda's way of compensating for Sabo not staying there and saying goodbye to Luffy by the end of this chapter. But that scene is just great, man. Like, just seeing the changes in Luffy's facial expression as he gradually realizes that it's Sabo, And then he realizes it, and it's like he just jumps away in shock and comes back to hug him. And, you know, he's just crying. It's great. Very emotional. A really, really heartwarming scene. It's awesome. Sabo's like, Luffy, can I have the Meta no Mi? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ace died, but I'm glad you managed to make it out of there. I was about to lose my only two brothers without being able to do anything about it. If you would have gotten killed as well, I would have been all alone. Thank you for staying alive, Luffy. We go back to present time, and Franky is straight up sobbing. His entire face is just pouring. He's like he's been hearing this flashback with some Naruto sadness and sorrow music. And then you have like this enormous Vivre card. How do you make Vivre card? It's like a page, and Sabo tears a bit out of it. But how do you make Vivre cards? Like, I know he can be a handful, but I'm leaving him to you guys. I'm really proud of him. See you later. That's the exact same thing that Ace said to the crew back in Alabasta. And then my man Sabo uses his Mangekyo Sharingan to summon those crows and fly away. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, crows look really badass just in general, but I like how he's walking out of the house in the middle of the night. It would have been better if he stepped off of a cliff and those crows would just form a path. I have a theory that Sabo's Devil Fruit ability awakening mode is gonna be Amaterasu, but don't steal my idea, please. That's it for me. I thought it was a good chapter. I did not expect to get this type of chapter after the one we got last week, so it was a nice surprise. I think this chapter may be set up for the episode of Sabo that is coming up next month. I guess we'll see what happens with that. Thank you so much for watching. Like the review if you did, I appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel, I really appreciate that as well, and comment and share your thoughts and everything. Thanks, guys. Bye.